Hi Scorpio, welcome to my channel. This is going to be your you and them reading for July 29th through August 6th of this year. Thank you all so much for the wonderful comments and liking and sharing and subscribing. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the readings requests. If this doesn't resonate with you, please keep in mind that this is a general reading, so there's no way I can hone in on every single situation. Some of these things may resonate with you and others may not. And what does resonate is what you should take with you. What doesn't, you can just go ahead and leave it. It could be for somebody else. Please also be sure to check your moon and rising signs if this doesn't resonate with you, and then also your Venus sign and the other person's Mars sign. That'll give you a little bit more of the picture of what's going on. Also, cross watchers, please keep in mind that I do deliver exactly what I'm seeing, and if it is that you are another person in this situation, please just know that this may not be particularly pertaining to your situation either. It could be that your other person may take something from the reading that you are not aware of, or maybe you don't, it doesn't resonate with you. So that is also a concern. I know that some cross watchers have a hard time because there are some harsh messages that are delivered sometimes, but I deliver it exactly as it's coming through here. And so if it's too much for you, I don't mean this with any disrespect, but if it's too much or it's something that hits too close to home, maybe you're just not ready to hear it, and cross-watching might not be a good idea. Or my channel might not be a good idea, because I'm going to tell you exactly how I see it, and I would want that, I would want that from somebody else too. So I hope that you can understand that, because I mean no disrespect. I have nothing but love. Nothing but love for you. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and begin with the reading here. The first card that I pulled for you, Scorpio, is the King of Cups. So this is pretty much you. You're pretty much in your element right now. I feel like there's a lot of reflection going on, and there's also kind of a lot of emotions are coming to the forefront. I think on a lot of levels that maybe have been kind of pushed aside in the past. I get the feeling that this King of Cups, he's contemplating. So he's definitely in his power. You can see he's sitting in the throne there. He's got his wand and Saturn's up there behind him. But I definitely feel like he's in some deep contemplation. And it's all emotionally based. Maybe there's been a lot going on emotionally, or somebody has been incredibly emotional around you. And so you're just kind of taking that in. I feel like that is the main focus of right now. It's kind of like trying to weigh out emotionally what it is, like what matters, what doesn't, what can I get rid of, what can I not get rid of, as far as emotional space or heads, things that are taking up, when you have somebody on your mind or something on your mind all the time, and you recognize that you're spending way too much time thinking about it. I feel like you've come to a recognition of this, but I also feel like it's kind of a matter of trying to figure out, okay, what do I need to do to stop thinking about this constantly or feeling this way constantly. That's kind of what I'm getting. And the reason that I say that is because the next card that I have for you is the Knight of Cups. So in this trajectory here, there's kind of a digression almost. And there's nothing wrong with the Knight of Cups per se, but it's moving from maybe a solid situation where you were really sure and a good foundation for yourself, where you were standing in your truth, to, or maybe I was wrong, or maybe this is another, maybe there's another option, or maybe it doesn't have to be this way, or maybe I want to act like a child. I feel like the Knight of Cups, it's definitely, this could be professions of love. It could be that you've been sitting here contemplating and feeling like, okay, I gotta tell him. I just gotta tell him. I gotta tell him how I feel. For real, gotta tell him how I feel. That could be some of you, but I also feel like it could be, for those of you who maybe had been really dependable, really reliable, they knew where you stood, they knew what your emotions were, you could be kind of downgrading from that a little bit to maybe you're making professions of feelings or love or flirting with other people. Now again, this isn't everybody, this is just what I'm picking up in this scenario too. So it could be either or. It could be somebody who has been sitting here thinking, I really need to step up to the plate and tell them how I feel, and this Knight's coming in to tell them to make this declaration of love. Or it could be that it's somebody who is maybe starting to play the field a little bit. And the reason that I say that is the next card that I have is this Two of Pentacles. Excuse me. Now, I don't always automatically go to juggling, two parties with the Two of Pentacles. It is possible, like I said, with this dynamic of going from a king to a knight's type of energy, that you could be juggling because you may be making a profession or starting to explore your feelings for another party as well. But if it's the latter, and it was that you were standing in your truth and feeling like you needed to finally say, or you had the drive finally came, you can't stop the momentum of the night. I mean, it's going to happen. So I feel like this is maybe this is you deciding that you need to make a profession of love, or you need to tell somebody how you really feel. You may end up feeling like, well, how am I going to juggle this though? Because they're gonna want a relationship at this point, and they're gonna want to be, maybe you don't have time as it is, or maybe there's just financial concerns on your end as it is, and you don't know how you're going to be able to make it happen, but you feel like they deserve to know at this point. So this could be two different scenarios here. And you'll know whether it applies to your scenario or not. So it could be that somebody is deciding maybe they want to see what else is out there. Maybe the grass is greener on the other side a little bit. Or somebody is really worried because they feel, or not so much really worried, but wondering how they are going to make this happen. Because they also want to get to a certain place, maybe financially, or you're juggling work and a relationship at this point once you've made this profession, and so it could be kind of stressing you out. But with the king here, it does tell me that you are able to handle it. Like royalty is pretty much the only way I could say it. You are able to handle it in a mature way if you choose to. With the knight here, you could be a douche if you choose to. That could happen too. And I don't mean to say that you are necessarily, but this definitely, with this knight and this Two of Pentacles, you could just be embodying some douchey, characteristics at the time. And we've all done that. Don't pretend. Don't pretend that we haven't done that. We've all done that. So don't judge me. Okay, so for the other person, the first card that I have for them is the Knight of Wands. And with this pentacle here, you definitely could be dealing with an earth sign. It could be another water sign, and you've got fire here too. So, and I've got quite a bit of fire here too. So either they could be a fire sign, or they could have fire in their chart. And there's quite a bit of earth here and quite a bit of water. So I'm not getting air, but I mean, it could be that your air sign is maybe, if you are dealing with an air sign, to be real, it could be that they are maybe they're embodying some fire energy or some water energy, because fire and air are very closely connected, and a lot of people that have air in their chart do have fire in their chart too. So that, I mean, it could be anybody. I guess I could just say that. It could be anybody. They could just be acting this way. Anyways, so the card that I pulled for them, the first one, is the Nine of Wands. The Nine of Wands, to me, it is a victorious card. I mean, this is somebody who's a warrior. This is somebody who is, they're not a loser. They're not going to lose. They don't back down. They're not, but they're so tired. They're so tired of this same old thing, whatever it is, whatever the cycle is. Maybe there's been a cycle of them trying to, will you please, just trying to get you to open up about how you feel, or trying to get you to communicate in a way that's not focused on yourself, but rather focused on them. And I don't mean that you've been selfish necessarily, but sometimes when we're dealing with a lot of emotions, we only understand our own emotions. It's difficult to, be able to understand another person's emotions, so you relate it through your own emotions, which makes it seem like you're talking about you, when really you're not. That's just the only way you can relate to it. So I feel like this person they're kind of tired. Or they're beat down, or the situation has kind of beat them down to where they need to catch a breather. But I don't feel like it's I'm catching a breather because I can't keep going. I feel like I'm just catching a breather because there's nothing going on right now, and that's what I need to do, is just chill for a second. So I feel like that's kind of happening. But this 9 is also right toward completion, like whatever it is. Whatever this 9 is that they've been fighting and struggling and they're tired from, or they're exhausted of dealing with, it's almost through. This, going from 9 is almost through. Once they get to a 10, then that's it. They've completed it. It's fabulous. And the next thing is the 10 of Pentacles. So it could be too. Also, again, with this, as I was mentioning, if somebody's coming in and feeling like they need to make this profession of love, but they're petrified because of the financial situation, this is telling me that there is some really great financial stuff happening, or that this person over here has been working their butt off to be able to get to a financially secure place that will benefit the both of you. And it could be that this night has to do with maybe you feeling like you're a little bit inadequate because of that. But the king is here to prove that they don't think you're inadequate at all. You're everything that they want for the most part. If you're dealing with somebody who you've been in a kind of a relationship with, or been talking to for a while, and the feelings are mutual, then it could be that you're everything that they want, and they see that in you. But it could be that you're feeling like you might be inadequate as far as the financial side of things. If it's not somebody that you've been in a relationship for, it could be that they've been so tired and so worn out and distracted because they're working so hard to make this happen on their end, but it's happening. And it's going to come, it's going to come to a point where they're going to be secure. And especially if you're dealing with an earth sign, especially if it's somebody who is an earth sign, then that stability is absolutely necessary for them in order for them to be able to chillax enough to be able to listen, to hear you. Because a lot of earth signs, especially if it's a Capricorn that you're dealing with, they can get themselves so wound up over financial stresses that there's no room for any other emotion. Doesn't mean they don't love you, doesn't mean they don't feel like they love you, but that stress compounded on emotional stress, or stress over love, or stress over a relationship, is tenfold for them rather than a lot of other signs. So just recognize, and that goes for Virgo and Taurus too, but Capricorn especially has that kind of it just flips a switch on them where they just can't, it doesn't mean that they're not feeling those things, but the stress, but this concern here overrides whatever it is that they're feeling for a while until they can get that taken care of. But this is almost taken care of. And if you are dealing with a fire sign too, fire is so action oriented that they have to see the result of their hard work. And so I feel like that's what this is saying, is that once this result of their hard work comes in, then things are going to be taking a shift that maybe you don't even see as a possibility right now. Because the next card that I have for them is the Four of Wands. This is a home card. This is building a home. It's building a really stable, emotional, and it's the action toward building a very stable and emotional home type situation, where this is going, I don't know if you can see in the card, but they've got this man, woman, and the child there with these wands that are standing up almost like the four walls to the house. I know I've said that before, but that's what I'm getting from this, especially with this 9 here and the 10. They've got 9 of wands and the completion coming in with the 10, and then you've got the 4 of wands here. So it's saying once that completion comes in, then this can come into play. Then they'll be able to, because especially if you're dealing with a fire sign, because fire signs don't respond very well to these emotions, a whole bunch of emotion. Like, that doesn't penetrate the fire sign when they're in this go mode they're fighting for success. That it won't penetrate. It can penetrate when they have completed that success, but when they're in go mode and they're in action mode, they care that you love them. They care that there are feelings there. Yes, they have emotions, but fire signs especially if you're dealing with a Leo or a Sagittarius. Aries can do this too, but I've seen a lot with Leo and Sagittarius. And of course, I don't have a whole bunch of personal experience with Aries, so that could be why too. They may all embody this kind of behavior, but especially when they are fighting really hard to get, a leg up on something or find some stability, the emotional side of things that exists, but they're able to compartmentalize it they compartmentalize it to a point where they don't even have to think about it right then. Or thinking about it may even stress them out even more, because all their eyes on the prize, they got tunnel vision. That's what's happening. That's what they do. That they make things happen. Once that happens, then they can focus on the next thing to make happen, but they can't do that simultaneously. It's just not one of their strong suits. Some of them Some fire signs obviously can if they have a lot of earth in their chart, or they have a lot of air in their chart, or even if they have water in their chart. Most of the time, if there's water in the chart on the Venus or Mars sign, then yeah, they can respond to love during that time. But a lot of the time, especially if you have fire on fire, especially if somebody has a fire sign and then their Mars and or Venus sign are fire too, you may be fighting a battle that you don't need to fight right now, because nothing's going to penetrate till they get to this point, till they get this battle, this exhaustion, until they get this hard work that they've been putting into everything, until this hard work pays off in some sort of way, which it looks like it will be soon. They're not going to be able to respond, especially not favorably, especially not any way that you'll want them to right now, because it's just going to add stress to them until they get this. But once they get this victory here that's happening, it's either financial stability or it's stability in their life. There's something that they are working their butts off to get stability in. Once that happens, that's when this Four of Wands comes in. That's what their next task will be. That's what their next action move is going to be, is to create this home type of a feeling. This, then they will be able to focus on this. And again, it doesn't have to be a fire sign either that I'm referring to, but it's somebody who is embodying the energy. They're definitely driven toward a goal right now. And if you get in the way of that, it's not gonna be what you want it to be. Don't get in the way of it, and let them get to that point, and then you'll be able to approach it. And then they may even approach you, because this is an action card. So this Four of Wands may be them approaching you about it. But the reason I say that is this Seven of Wands here in the middle. This is somebody standing their ground. So I feel like this, now it's making a little more sense. I feel like this Knight of Cups may be trying to interfere by coming in and professing feelings of love a little bit forcefully. And while this person might be in the middle of this process, like I was saying, I know I made a big old deal about it, this process of struggling really hard to achieve something, if this Knight of Wands comes in during the middle of that, they're going to be standing their ground. They're going to dig in their heels. They're not going to hear it. They're not going to listen. This person is standing their ground for sure. So don't come in the middle of this struggle and try and get some kind of emotional reaction toward you. Don't try and make it about you right now. If you really care about this person, don't try and make it about you right now, because if you really care about them, one of the things that I is an epiphany that I had a long time ago, where I was frustrated because I felt like, if you are dating me, then you should want to do that. Like, it's common sense. You should want to tell me something, or you should want to see me, or you should want to make time to be together or whatever. But I had this epiphany at one point when I was sitting down, that I was at work in front of the computer, and I just thought, I sit here and I say that I love this person more than anybody on earth. But all I'm trying to do is get what I want. But if I really, really love them, then I should understand that they are doing what they need to do right now, and I should be able to trust that. And it was one of those times, and that may not click with some of you, but it clicked with me. And so when it clicked with me, complete weight lifted off my shoulder. I didn't even have to worry about it. I didn't sit there angry I wasn't getting a text. I didn't sit there stewing or feeling like, well, I'm about done with this person now. I was able to release that because it wasn't about me anymore. It was really about, I wanted them to be happy. And here I am. If I'm adding to your problem, then you're not going to be happy. So I feel like for some of you, that's what this is saying, is don't come in and add to this problem right now because they're under so much stress. For others of you, though, however, this could be you standing your ground on it, because it could be something, and not necessarily standing your ground, but it could be something where maybe there's some disapproval from people around you that has to do with this other person. It could be that there's somebody, and you may be juggling approval too. That could be what is happening. This Pentacle card could be you trying to maintain stability because maybe some of your family or somebody close to you or somebody who's important to you might have an issue with your emotions toward this other person, with the fact that you're professing feelings for them or whatever that it is. It could be that there's some, it could be an outside source that you are having to stand your ground on, but somebody's having to defend their right. defend their right either to feel something, defend their right to not have to. Also, I feel like that's what it is too. I feel like somebody's defending their right not to have to do what somebody else wants them to do just because they want them to do it. And it could be that they are defending their right not to have to tell you, or not to have to respond to you, or not to have to do anything that you want them to do right now. They may be defending that right because they're so overwhelmed on this side. But with this Four of Wands down here, it's telling you that it's not because they don't care about you. It's not because they don't give a shit. It's because they are just not made to do that right now. Like, some people are incapable of multitasking their emotions with their actions with their brain. Sometimes they just don't cohesively meet during certain times. Not saying that they never do, but sometimes they just don't. Somebody's in a zone, and that's the zone that they're staying in. So I do feel like that's kind of what this message is saying. Either it is you who is making a profession of something and feeling like you need to defend your feelings for this other person, or it's this other person who is going through a huge struggle right now, and this is saying to don't push them. Don't push them for an emotional reaction. Don't push them for what their feelings are. Don't grill them about, where do you see this going and things like that right now, because this struggle that's going on for them, they are busting their ass to make something happen and will be much more responsive once whatever this stress is. I don't know if it could be school, it could be work, it could be anything, but anything that they're working really hard on, or whatever that goal is. So let me get a clarifying card on the Seven of Wands real quick. Please clarify this Seven of Wands for Scorpio and their love interest from July 29th to August 6th, 2017. Please clarify this Seven of Wands card. Please clarify the Seven of Wands card for Scorpio. July 29th through August 6th, 2017 for Scorpio and their love interest. Please clarify this Seven of Wands for Scorpio and their love interest. July 29th through August 6th, 2017. Oop, there it is. The Tower. Okay, so the Seven of Wands is clarified by the Tower. So whatever is... So this is telling me that you don't push them. Don't push them, because right now, whatever this is that's happening over here for them, yes, there can be a fabulous outcome if you don't push it. If you push it, though, this could end the relationship. They could stand their ground. They could stand their ground even to the point of leaving, just cutting you off. Because this Tower here is telling you that whatever storm is brewing in whoever needs to defend something or stand up for something, whoever is fighting for something or standing up for a cause or standing up for a person, that they will leave that. I mean, it's like they will completely cut it off. They'll completely slice it from their life. That's where this Tower would come in, is because it's kind of at that point where it's make or break. And I feel like anybody who's trying to oppose them is going to crumble, is going to be shattered. And so this is telling me not to push. Don't push, because it's right. This Seven of Wands is right next to this Knight of Cups, who's coming in with this profession of love. But this Tower exists here. It's an ending. You've got the 9 and the 10. The 10 of Pentacles is an ending too. But you've also got this Four of Wands. So it's telling me 10 of Pentacles is an ending of whatever this scenario is that they're struggling for. But it could be an ending with this Tower here if you're to come in and you're pushing them, or you're pushing them for a response, or pushing them for some kind of information, or trying to push for your agenda. That's what I'm saying, is don't push your agenda right now, because that's where this Tower is coming in. For others, if it's you who's defending, then this is telling me that you could end up in a situation where you will damage the relationship with whoever it is that you're defending this person to. That could be damaged. It could be a substantial amount of damage that's caused. For some of you, it may be that family's cutting you off. They may dislike this so much. They may dislike this person. They may dislike, whatever it is, or they could just be incredibly controlling. Whatever it is, though, some of you may be having to deal with family cutting you off, or family or friends or close friends cutting you out of their life in some sort of way, almost to the point where they're disowning you. That could be happening too. For those of you who are flirting and running around with this Knight of Cups energy, for those of you who have been the king who's demoted himself to a Knight of Cups, who's running around, what this is telling me, this, with the juggling going on, if you are juggling more than one person, this is a very stern warning for you, because this is telling me that this person over here, they're going to be okay. They're struggling, but they are going to get themselves to a point of absolute victory here. This is going to be a victory. They are almost at their end game. They're almost at their goal. And for them, it's going to be stability toward building a home. And this tower here, they'll do it without you. They'll walk away without you if they have to. If they know what's going on here, it could be that they're standing up for their own self-respect, because I feel like with this spread of cards here, it could be that you end up in a situation where you're found out. It could even be that this Seven of Wands is them standing up for their own self-respect. You could be found out, and this tower is actually, it could be for those of you who are kind of screwing around, or maybe you are checking to see if the grass is greener on the other side. I feel like when this person stands their ground, you're going to be shocked at how much that affects you. You might have thought that this, whoever it is that you're flirting with, or maybe you're playing with multiple women or men or whatever, I think it's going to shock you how hard it hits you, though, when this person puts their foot down, because it's saying to me that they'll defend their self-respect. And they're going to be in a position to be able to do it without you. They don't need you for anything at that point. They've been struggling for this goal. Yeah, they're going to be reaching this goal, though. They're going to reach these goals, and it's going to create a future for them. So they won't need you at that point. They'll stand up for themselves at that point. I'm not saying that they're using you by any means, but I do think that it makes a difference when someone has come to a place where they have reached a goal that they've been working their ass off for, and somebody throws a curveball like that, or somebody's screwing around and not being honest, or juggling, which is not being honest. Just so you know, if you're juggling and they think you're not, it's not being honest. And we all kind of know when somebody thinks we're exclusive or something like that. So it could be a situation like that, and I think this tower is telling me that you may feel it a lot more than you think you will. You might feel like you'd be fine without him, but I feel like this would be a little bit deeper of a wound than you think it will. So that's for some of you. So there's a whole bunch of different scenarios that are coming in, but that's what the cards are telling me as far as this goes. So hopefully that resonates with you. And again, like I said, take what works, leave what doesn't, and I will see you soon.